seventh month the child is moved by the bodily air and does not remain in one place, for the entire uterine system becomes slackened before delivery. The worms have been described here as Sodara. Sodara means born of the same mother. Since a child is born from the womb of the mother, and the worms are also born of the fermentation within the womb of the same mother, under the circumstances, the child and the worms are actually brothers. We are very anxious to establish universal brotherhood among human beings, but we should take into consideration that even the worms are our brothers. What to speak of other living entities? Therefore, we should be concerned about all living entities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, further description of the living entity's experience within the womb of a mother before he is born is being narrated here by Lord Kapila to Mother Devahuti. These descriptions are a reality that is occurring every moment in this material world for different living entities at different times. At this very moment, millions of mothers on this earth, not only human, other species also, are all pregnant, and those living entities are going through these pains. Those living entities are going through this horrible situation within the mother's womb, which we have described earlier, being bitten by hungry worms and experiencing pain due to the harsh food that the mother takes. And also now having to remain there in a filthy abdominal cavity, along with the worms who are also born there. Hearing these truths from authoritative sources like Bhagavatam penetrates our heart as realizations and not mere information. When they penetrate our heart as realization, we see ourselves as also having gone through the same, and will have to go through the same again and again if we have to take material bodies again. By hearing these things, one comes out of by hearing the journey of the living entity from conception to birth, and then again the process of childhood, youthhood, manhood, old man, or these different stages, and then death. Hearing these things, one will start identifying himself with what is beyond all these changing false selves. When we are born, by default, as our senses open up, we start identifying ourselves with the body. Because you have to identify yourself with the body, because previous life you had some other body. So if you think that I am this body, you have to go through the exercise of identifying with this body. We have all gone through that exercise of identifying with this body and thinking I am the body. Therefore, today we are thinking by default that I am this body. It didn't come automatically. As a child, when we opened our eyes, as a child, when we willed to move our hands, our legs, we found that it is moving. You wish to lift your hand as a baby, then you see that you have freedom to lift. Then your mind registers, this is my hand. It's a completely new hand you got into, your new body you got into. And because that body fully listens to you, you start thinking that it is my hand, my body, because what happens? Anything that completely listens to you is what you identify yourself as me. If I want to lift your hand, it doesn't lift. If I want to lift my hand, I can lift. So I say this hand is mine, that hand is not mine. Suppose I had the power to move your hands, move all your body, then that body also become my body. Like ghosts haunt bodies. So, this I am this body is artificially entered into our mind in each life. And that is how we create our false existential identity. My existence means this body. My existence means this body. He's forgotten that his existence means even beyond, before he got into his body, he has an existence. So there is a soul which is permanently existing. That soul is a person. And that soul person, the soul who is a person, enters this mold of a new body and then becomes a personality of this body. I am this body is a personality. Person is different, personality is different. Personality is the expression of the person. Person is eternal. Personalities are situational. Even within this life, personalities are situational. We had a personality when we were a baby. We had a personality when we were, young. When your personality when you are adult, you had a personality when you are old. Your personality is changing. Even the existential personality means the personality who exists. Somebody has to exist in this body. Apart from situational personalities, different situations you may have different personalities. Our babyhood personality, boyhood personality, manhood personality, etc. These are all personalities which are situational. They don't exist. Since they don't exist, they are called false ego. Whereas my personality that I am a servant of Krishna exists eternally. Mamaivam Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. My personality that I am part and parcel of the Supreme Divine Lord It is a real ego. It's a real personality. It exists, never dies. That personality is what is in this body expressing itself as various temporary situational personalities. Therefore, we have to identify ourselves with our real existential personality, means the personality that does not change according to situations. And that personality that does not change according to situation adopts secondary personalities. No problem. I can be a servant of Krishna. I can be a servant of Krishna as a friend. I can as a dasa, as a sakya, as a vatsalya, madhurya, different personalities I can have. But my basic core personality is I am servant of Krishna. You can have several secondary personalities. Even in this material world, who is the real existential personality is I am the servant of the Lord. That personality is eternal, but I have forgotten that, and I think I am this body, and then from the body I create several secondary personalities. So we should become detached from all these personalities and become and identify ourselves with the person and the core personality that I am servant of Krishna. That core person, I am the servant of Krishna. That does not change because that is Sat. Situational personalities change. And at the time of death, it is this core personality that goes out of this body, giving up all the old personalities, lock, stock, and barrel. Every kind of personality that you had in your life, everything is abandoned at the time of death. And your core personality goes to a new situation and creates new secondary personalities like I am this baby, I am this boy, I am the child of this father, this mother, I belong to this family. Where? Before you were born in that, you never thought you are of this family. You come into this family and then you think I am of this family. So the entire cobweb of illusory personalities begin once we take birth. And we cannot help. Every child is brainwashed because child is not enlightened. But as a child grows, if the child is given the proper samskara, if the child is given proper knowledge, habits, thinking, feeling, willing, is inculcated in the child, then the child can overcome this trap that I am this body. And then he understands this body is no problem. This body is to be used by me, who is an eternal servant of Krishna. This body itself is one of the situational personalities. I am trapped in this life. This is a kind of, if I am a man, I am man. I am trapped to think like a man, feel like a man, will like a man. If I trapped inside a bird, I am forced to think like a bird, feel like a bird, will like a bird. This particular kind of thinking, feeling, willing is not that of the soul, but that is decided by the body in which you are there. But the thinker, feeler, willer is the soul. But the content of the thinking, feeling, and willing is determined by the type of body. This is bondage. Whereas I am neither a man, neither a woman, neither a bird, neither a tiger. I don't have to be stuck. It is one of the situational personalities. So a liberated person, he understands that I am the eternal servant of Krishna. I can take any role. I can take any role play. Of course, within the, suppose suddenly you are a servant of Krishna, you want to become a bird, you cannot. But at least in the mind, one breaks all barriers of karma. Oh, I can't do this, I can't be that, I can't, no, nothing. You can be if you're a Kshatriya, you can get into a Brahmana mold, you can get into a Shudra mold, or Shudra mold, you can get into a Kshatriya mold. If the force behind it is the core personality that I am servant of Krishna. I can take up the personality of doing the work of a Shudra. If it displeases the Lord. I can adopt the personality of occupation of a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana, if that pleases the Supreme Lord. That way you see the devotee is free from being trapped with particular personalities. Kshatriya personality, Brahmana personality, Shudra personality, all these things. Of course, according to one's own inherent, inborn nature in each life, there is a default mode in which this yantra works with a particular percentage of sattva, tamoguna, kshatriya mode, brahmana mode, etc. It works, it is there. That is laws of karma, no doubt. But doesn't mean that the Vaishnava is limited by that. Because he transcends that identity. And each personality that he engages in or relates with, or he expresses himself, is simply in service of the Supreme Lord. So these secondary personalities are all illusory personalities. If you want to control your mind with respect to some action, immediately you can look for what is the personality who is wanting that action. Instead of controlling the mind, you control the personality. Controlling the mind is like, suppose you want to stop a car. If you think the best way is to go and catch the wheels. The wheel is turning, you want to catch the wheel. Logically it makes sense. If the wheel is, enough force is there, the wheel is stopped, the car will stop. The controlling the mind is like catching the wheel. That is where we fail. To stop the wheel, what we should do? Put the ignition switch off, right? At the driver's seat. You have to be at the driver's seat. So in the same way, if you want to control some action of the mind, you have to learn how to switch off the personality which wants to act. That means you have to choose, I don't want to be this. Suppose there is an urge for a sense gratification. But you see that the urge for sense gratification is coming from a personality who wants to enjoy. Which ghost you have only created and put inside you. And that fellow again encounters a sense objects and he rises up. I want to enjoy. And because it's a recording of your own enjoyment, you will have least doubt that this is not me. You know, this is me only. How can I deny? This is me only. If I don't engage in sense gratification now, that means I am denying myself. But actually it is not true. It is a false ego. If you, of course, if you agree that now I want, it is your desire. So there is always a gap between the living entity's identity and its free will. So if you want to control the mind, you have to control the personality whose mind it is. That is, you have to, afterwards, sometimes, some other time you are in a different personality. Then that personality will tell, oh, why did I engage in sense gratification? I should not have. Are you only engage, then now you are saying, why did I engage in sense gratification? I am feeling bad. So this is another personality. He is a good personality. He has surfaced up now. That time the other personality has surfaced up. Like this, so many ghosts we have created. False ego ghosts we have created in our subconscious. And when the sense object that comes before us, immediately that ghost gives attendance. Yes, I am here. Please give me your thinking, feeling and willing now. Any number of ghosts you might have created, but they all need your free will online for becoming active. Need your free will. And if you don't give your free will, you got a choice. Free will means either you can say yes or no. When you say no to a sense gratification, go on saying no, 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 no. That is called abstinence. By abstinence, that personality becomes weak. Suppose you have any bad habit. You identify a personality that jumps into your consciousness, engaging in that bad habit, that personality. You clearly know it's a different personality. I'm haunted by that personality. A personality means it is I want to be that. Then he is a seer, that means he has a perception of the sense object. He has a desire, and then he has actions following that. Beer, seer, desirer, doer. This is personality. Personality means beer, that means be. I want to be. I want to be a man. I want to be an enjoyer. I want to be a servant. I want to be a boss. I want to be a pilot. I want to be an engineer. I want to be. Being is a desire for being is the first desire. Desire for being independent is the first desire, being. So being, seeing. Then you see through that personality. The world you will see through that personality. You want to be an enjoyer, then you will see the world through that being. I am a man, I want to enjoy. Then you will see the world through that filter personality which looks for sense objects. Where is woman? That's the way a man who is enamored by his manly consciousness keeps looking for his desire. A man's desire is woman. Woman he looks for. In this way, the beer, seer, then desirer, and then doer. he engages in relationship with that object. So a personality means beer, seer, desirer, and doer. So if you have a bad habit, sense gratificatory habit from the past life, it is all there in the subconscious mind. That beer, seer, doer, desirer and doer will get loaded into your consciousness. That personality will get loaded into. So that personality will have the rasa of being, will have the rasa of seeing, will have the rasa of desiring, will have the rasa of doing. It's a personality. So if you want to control doing, you have to control desiring. If you want to control desiring, you have to control seeing. If you want to control seeing, you have to control the being. So being is a ignition switch. You don't want sense gratification. You have to decide, I don't want to be an independent enjoyer. Instead of going on directly dabbling with the immediate senses and sense objects, just come out of it at a macro level. You deal with the ignition switch. If you go on catching the wheel, it will never happen. You will get so tired, your hand will go away because the engine is running. Petrol is firing and it keeps on turning. That means your ahankara, you have not withdrawn your ahankara. Ahankara wants and you are forcefully stopping, and there is a big fight between the ahankara and your mind. Big conflict in the mind. So to give up bad habits, to give up sense gratification without a big fight is to simply withdraw the being. For that you have to observe your being, how you enjoy being that. Then you have to dislike that. Isn't it? Very simple. We all have got the power to like and dislike. Right now you like that being. As long as you like that being, you cannot go only at the end of the process you stop the doing. You cannot. You have to go to the root and disidentify ourselves with being something which we are not. And that is why this entire devotional service is practice of being eternal self. That means engage in devotional service of Krishna means I want to be a servant of the glorious Lord. I don't want to be servant of these false masters which I have created in my system. I want to be the servant of the real master, Srila Prabhupada. I want to be the real master, servant of the real master, the super soul, the Supreme Lord. I want to be that. That choice automatically develops. That means that personality of being servant develops by how? Continuously acting as his servant. I told you, any personality you go on repeatedly acting, it becomes strong. Any personality which you have created in the past in your system, if you don't use that personality will get erased after some time. Just like what happened to your childhood personality, baby personality. You are attached to it for quite some time. Then as you grow old, you have no use for it. You have not used it. Even though you have been a child for several years, that child ego is wiped out. Now you have another ego. Of course, not everything is wiped out. There are many child egos which are wiped out, which are deep inside us. That's a different matter. So understanding all this, how person is different from the personality, and personality, how they are formed, and how they are ingrained into your subconscious. If you know these things, very simple, in a very simple way, if you know these things, it's very easy to our handle our mind, handle our senses is easy if you know how to handle the personalities inside us. How so easily we make and break personalities, isn't it? Our mind has got tremendous capacity. Example is, you put on TV, get into a movie, in few minutes you have created personalities. There's no personality on the TV. There's only some light flashing. What is there? What are you seeing? Some play of light on the screen. But what is your mind seeing? Personalities. Tuck, 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 you have created personalities. And suppose that is the reason why in movies also, heroes don't take up villain's role. Villains don't take up hero role. Why? It confuses people. Now, I know this actor is a hero. Suddenly in a movie he becomes villain. Then you get confused, isn't it? There's no continuity. How can the hero be villain? How can be a bad man? So movie industries are also very smart. Hero is always hero. Villain is always villain. So that every time, as soon as the TV is on, movie is on, oh, hero, you know. And that hero is a continuation of hero. He's a nice man always. He's always a villain. I know now he will come, he'll be a villain, you know. So like that we create personalities so fast, we are capable of weaving out personalities and creating a world. In few minutes you create a movie world out of the light patches in the screen. What an ability. It's not the ability of the television. It is the ability of the soul. Soul has got that ability to weave out personalities. So in the same way in our life, we are weaving out so many personalities. Why not we, by design, create personalities? By design, you create identities which are favorable for devotion service. Create egos that are favorable for devotion service. Create personalities that are favorable for devotion service. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, how to rightly associate with an aspiring Vaishnava while simultaneously maintaining due detachment from him? Because we know that absolute attachment can be had only with pure devotees in Krishna.
So be attached to what is good in everywhere. Everybody is, nobody is, just now I explained, everyone is full of so many personalities. Every individual is a slice of personalities. So you choose which slice you want to associate with. So this idea of this personality means I should fully associate with him is a complete, because you are thinking that everything in that body is him. Every personality in this body is his that I want to associate with. No. First of all, he is not the body. Everybody is an eternal servant of the Lord. Then he has created so many false personalities he has created in his system. And some of those personalities are now, as a devotee, have become very favorable. They are all sub-personalities of I am servant of Krishna. I am servant of Prabhupada. Those personalities you associate with. Don't be shocked and surprised if that person has another personality where he is a sense gratifier. It is all there. It's so many. It is all piled up in our subconscious. So don't associate with that personality. Give him credit for all the good personalities that he has cultured in him. Ignore those personalities where he falls down and all those things. Ignore all those things. tolerant, compassion towards others. Don't denigrate anybody. So that way you can choose very clearly, no confusion, what all to associate with and what not to associate with. But if there is a pure devotee, then all his slices are pure. So wholesale you can associate. And there are people who, okay, almost everything I can, but still I have to be. Or even sometimes a new devotee, some very good, wonderful quality will be there. All the others will be bad. Okay, that one particular quality I will associate with him. I will learn from him how to work hard for Krishna and Prabhupada. Or like that, different personalities.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, you're telling about how the soul acquires different personalities like a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. When it comes to dovetailing all these personalities while being a servant of Krishna, one may get carried away by those personalities, adopted personalities. So how does one dovetail all these personalities?
By knowing that they are all transient personalities, they are all role plays. That is why I said, be attached to the existential personality, not to the situational personality. Situational personality is the expression of the person, existential personality. You are a servant of Krishna. As a servant of Krishna, I may be acting now in this particular role. I cannot get lost in that. I should know it is a meant to feed my core personality. That's very easy, because you see in a particular day, in an hour you take so many personalities. Even within an hour you take up so many personalities. Suppose you are talking to him, suddenly a phone call comes of another devotee. Then immediately you are loading that relational personality. What he is to you, what is the relationship? You are switched off from this personality whom you are relating with him. Isn't it? So these are all situational personalities. Why I should be attached?
Because one may get carried away by that personality. Sometimes that personality, when we forget that originally existentially we are servant of Prabhupada and Krishna. So that tendency to forget.
That forgetting will happen only if you cut the umbilical cord. What is the umbilical cord between the core personality and the secondary personalities? For whom does this secondary personality, why are you being, seeing, desiring and doing? For whom? For that core personality. Not for itself. Suppose I am, let's say I am this body. He is a personality. Bodily personality, bodily self. Suppose I act in the idea that I am the body and and the goal of every activity, every being, seeing, desiring and doing with this body is for my primary personality as a servant of Prabhupada. Then that connection is there. Suppose it ends here, the enjoyment ends here. Body, enjoyment for my body. Desire is for my body. Desire is for all those things. If you end there, then it becomes separated. Then you get into illusion. That is false ego. That is why Krishna says, you please act free from false ego. Free from false ego means free from forgetfulness that every role is a subservient of your soul, which is a servant of Krishna. Your soul is your real ego. Every sub-personality is a servant of your real ego. When you forget your real ego, then this, I am this body, becomes the false ego. So, the solution to what you are saying is continuous practice of linking our all personalities for the pleasure of your true self. And what is the pleasure of your true soul? The pleasure of your true soul is devotional service. My body personality shall engage in devotional service because that is the real pleasure of me, of mine. If I engage my body in service of the Lord, that is my real pleasure. Because my real pleasure is about giving pleasure to Krishna. That is a training of pure devotional service. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय.